Hi guys, today we're going to be sketching this rose-breasted nuthatch by understanding what we're looking at rather than breaking things down into shapes. So you need your scrap piece of paper, a pen that you like that's not going to go all blotchy on you when you do your different weights of lines. And just while you're getting yourself set up, I wanted to show you something that I did for you. This is a free download. I'll put the link in the video description. But I've sketched out the bird. You have to do better. You can try to do better than this, okay? But I've pointed out the key features of the bird that I'd like you to pay attention to when you're doing your own sketch. And if you have this as a reference, I thought that would be useful because, you know, a nuthatch is a tiny little bird, and if you wanted to do some sketches for like Christmas cards or gift cards or anything like that, then you could have this to refer back to make sure that you get in the key features, which will hopefully just give you the shape and the characteristics of the bird. So, and then the other thing I thought is, like, I will say that somebody commented saying that they already know how to sketch. So, like, that's great, that they shouldn't be on my channel anyway. But I thought that if you're already comfortable with sketching, or, you know, even if you're not comfortable with sketching, you could still, like, print this and you could use my sketch, and then you could practice all your shading and contours and different you know, like adding the features and the color to the bird, and practice that way, right? So anyway, I just thought that you know, providing this free download would be something useful. And if it's not, tell me, because it was kind of like a pain in the ass to do. But it was actually very, very good for me. So it may not print easily because what I had to do is, like, I did the sketch, and then I did the scan, and then I used Paint to add the labels, and then I had to convert it to a PDF and blah, blah, blah. So it's the best that I could do. Anyway, so this, the link to this PDF will be in the video description, because I've also figured out how to do that. Okay, so so by this time you've got your scrap piece of paper and your pen, and you're ready to go. So what I've intentionally done is tried to give myself a small piece of paper, because I just want to do a small bird, for heaven's sakes. Why do I always have to do these, like, huge things that take forever to shade and all that kind of stuff? So I'm forcing myself by choosing a smaller piece of paper. So with, if you're, okay, what do we want to do today? See, okay, these birds, first of all, they're flipping like double jointed in the neck. Okay, so literally they go down the tree, and the body will be like vertical on the trunk, and the head is sticking out. So I'm not joking that they can do a 90-degree angle here. So this angle isn't obviously 90 degrees, but what I would like you to accomplish in your sketch today is, I do want you to have an angle to the bird, a curve to, like, the body and then the head. And if it's not the same as the sketch, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be correct, because these are extremely flexible, inquisitive little birds, and they're just, like, so amazing. And a little fact, if the bird goes down the tree trunk, it's a nuthatch, and if it goes up, it's a little creeper. So, because they're almost the same size but different colors. Okay, see my delay tactics. Let's start above the bill, and we're just gonna have, like, a very shallow forehead, and we're gonna go up, curve to the top of the head and then go into the back. And then the bill is narrow. These guys eat a lot of seeds, and they'll grab a seed and they'll store it in the bark of the tree. So this is a functional bill that is meant for, you know, taking like sunflower seeds and all kinds of seeds and cramming them anywhere. So we're going to go down on his throat a little bit, and then this is the bottom of his throat, and we're curving to his rib cage right here. And see how we've got the back of his neck. Try to line that up with the bottom of his throat. So I kind of want you to pay attention to angles, but don't worry if you totally bugger it up, because if this is too steep, like mine's a little bit steeper than the sketch, or than the, reference photo was free of Pixabey. So they didn't have a name on the photo. Nothing that I wrote down anyway. And when I was thinking about this last night and how to approach this video, tossing and turning, I thought, how about we just try to work through the key features of the bird and see if we can sort of go from end to end and not get too, and use the features to keep ourselves oriented so that we know where we are. I thought we could maybe use that approach today. So this black eye stripe is critical. So for any nuthatch that you draw, you must have this black eye stripe going through the eye. And they actually have, they have, under different lighting, you see the black stripe going through the eye, and there'll be a white one above and a white below. See his white cheek right here, and this is pale here. So just depending on the lighting, they can, the shading and the coloring, the reflection through the feathers can look different. But I thought what we should do is just try to get these main features down. And we can go back in and darken things later. But just to sort of keep ourselves oriented with where we are in our sketch. Because like doing this whole swoop, like flat for the back and the swoop with the tummy and the bum, that's like too overwhelming for me. We'll just keep ourselves a little bit slow and steady. Okay, so at the back, and this black eye band does bleed to the top of the back, and then this is like denim blue jean. You see how like kind of like straight up that is? And they're a short, stubby little bird. So I don't want you to carry this out too far. Put it this way, if you make your sketch, if you give him a shorter body rather than a longer body, he'll look perfect. I don't want to commit to the end of the wing feathers just yet, so I'm going to leave that open. Let's do his chest, and we curve around the rib cage, and this is his tummy. And they do kind of keep their legs tucked in, and so we'll worry about his foot in a second. But this is the bottom of his tummy here. And then, okay, so I have to make sure that I've got the proper depth here, thickness, so I can make this thicker if I need to. But let's worry about his fluffy bum feathers here. And we're gonna like just go up for the underneath tail feathers. And they have a shorter, oh, my hand's blocking the, sorry. They have a shorter squared off tail. So don't push the tail feathers out too far, okay? So we got this wing and then these layered other feathers that are all layered on top of the tail. Edits and corrections are coming. Some things don't change in the videos, right? But how about, I want to make his bum a little fluffier. See, I think, I'm just guessing, but you know, like since they're such active birds and they're all like going around looking at you and whatnot, their feathers don't have time to sort of like sit all nicely and stuff. Let's get his back leg in here. So if it's too scary committing, just do something very, very narrow to place it. And then see, this is like one of his toes, and the others are around the tree trunk. So let's just, and this is kind of like his tummy. The big claw. That's not that fat, is what I've sketched, but anyway. And we'll do the tree last, obviously, to fit around the toes and everything that we've sketched. See if I can do this claw a little smaller. Okay, enough dicking around with the toes. So with with the key features, you guys, he's like this really nice tan all the way through to the throat, a white cheek patch and little pale above the black eye, and all this is a really nice denim blue with a little bit of black. So, see, I think I should make his head just change that angle a little bit. So what we want to do is make sure that we've got our different like sections, for lack of a better word. See how this tan kind of like comes down a little bit, and this is into his shoulder. So where his rib cage is, we just want to make sure we get his shoulder with the wing in there. Oh, I've come down too far. See? So I got to give him kind of like a smaller. And let's take this up, and we're going to do this first. We're going to do the tips of this first row of feathers. We can just put in some curves. See how these feathers, and they're kind of hidden by other feathers there. And this band of feathers has a special name, and I don't know what it is. Okay, now there's this little black shoulder feather, which I'm going to make, because I don't want to, just shade it in dark, just so that you know where you are in your sketch. This is a little bit messy and confusing for me right now. So what I need to do, I'm just going to go and come out like this and put in these feathers here. And I'm not, okay, in this black, how about I just try, because my positioning is a little bit wrong, because his tummy, I haven't done his tummy as big as it should be, but that's okay. I just want to put that black mark in there. Okay, and then we've got a couple of short feathers here. Jeepers, they make flying look so easy. It's because they've got all these feathers. Now, these are black tips to the sides of the feathers. So we can maybe just put in, because this one goes where? Part way back. Let's just put in a couple more. Oh, wait a second. Okay, so some of these are longer and then shorter. This is just so that we don't get too screwed up with where we are. And then we've got this dark that goes all the way to the back. So why don't we just take this and see if you can match this kind of darkish band. Now see how the light catches it. Doesn't stay dark all the way back. But what we want to do is give the impression of having these feathers, the wing feathers, layered on top of the tail. Because everything is kind of like short and stubby with these little guys. Look at all this fluffy bum feathers here. that are appropriately marked in your download. Okay, is that kind of good enough? Let's do you like how in your sketch, do you like how these top wing feathers are positioned by the tail? If you're happy with that, put in the tips. If you're not, bump it out a little bit more. So I think I'm just moving mine out a little bit. And then we've got a few other layered feathers from the wing that are positioned there, and then we go into a few tail feathers. And then you can change up the end of the tail if it's not quite to your liking. Okay, do you have something down that is sort of acceptable? Acceptable for the refrigerator? Or acceptable just for the bathroom, for the bathroom mirror? How about we put in the tree trunk? Can you run that through? Sure is relaxing doing bark, isn't it? Though you're not supposed to scribble like this. As a proper artist, you have to pay attention to every single detail in your artwork. That's what you can do on the download. Practice your shading and everything like that. But that's okay. This guy's he's okay. He's still way bigger than I wanted. Okay, I think, okay, let's go back and start working them again. And we're just gonna like make sure that we get our contrast. So with the bill, okay, so with your pen, just start adding a little bit more pressure. Don't make everything the same, because you've got to give some contrast and variety to his markings and how the light is catching the feathers and stuff. And we're just gonna like lightly see how his head is very, very slightly sloped, like a little seal, not like a chickadee with a big forehead. So he does have a denim blue head, so just do some light shading there. Not everything. I want to include this white eye patch at the back of his eye. Include by leaving it out. You know what I mean? And then he does have a white cheek patch, and he's pale under the the top part of the throat. So leave this all, and then we can very lightly start getting into this tan coloring. See how he's got, just use your pen and make some very light little ruffles here. And that's just the feathers sticking up and some shading, you know, underneath them. I'm going to fix his black patch too. Now just some very, very light shading starting under his throat, okay? Because this is where we just want to show a little bit of the tan starting. And then into his chest. So with this pressure, if you like this pressure, what I want you to do is get down a layer of all this tan for his tummy and his throat. And almost all the way back to his bum. We just want to have this as the tan, and we're gonna start with, and then we're just gonna have a bit of our, you get down this base layer, and see, like if you use my download, and you don't want to, or if you're already comfortable with the sketching and stuff like that, you don't mind what I've done, you can practice all your shading, your contouring. See how there's just different depths of tan through here. So don't make them all the same. This is just where, you know, there's different densities. And I don't know for sure, but I almost wonder if some of these birds have black skin like a polar bear, because either that or all the under feathers are dark, because the chickadees too have, when the chest feathers are split, you see black underneath. Maybe it's all there down. I'm not sure. There's a lot I don't know about birds. Okay, just make all this, all his bum feathers and the feathers around here, just make them all like kind of like roughly, if you can. Just want to show things are not all lying nice and flat. And it's tricky because we have to sketch in the dark, but our eyes are drawn to the light. So there's a little bit of the denim blue coming through here. But when you're doing your shading, this is basically the, you know, the contour of the body. Then we've got these other small feathers off the shoulder. Okay, so how about let's go in, and whatever pressure you use to do the tan, I'd like you to use a heavier pressure to do the denim on his back. I say as I shade his eye patch again. Don't do it all the same, because see how the light is catching the curve of his body here. But we do want to make sure that we do have some degree of contrast with his tummy. I did a practice sketch with this guy the other day. Well, actually, to be honest with you, I had to do a couple to prepare the download. And I had bought these black pens that I thought were going to be so great for sketching. And don't you know, that pen was blotching all over the paper yesterday. Super annoying. So, I mean, the purpose of sketching is to practice with the shapes and stuff. It doesn't really matter how it turns out, but when you're working away and then you get these really big blotches, it's like, man. So can you just add a little bit of the denim marking to his back? Okay, so leave this alone and that eye patch, and now let's okay. So I hope you're like semi, well, that's crappy. I hope you're super duper happy with what you've done, and if you are, just have a look at the reference, and I want you to go back and just add more contrast where you think it's needed in your sketch, and if what you've drawn is way different from the reference photo, that doesn't matter. You're paying attention to the key features of the bird, and you're adding those key features to your own sketch. To make them look right. I'm darkening his tummy a little bit. Plus it's in shadow, right? I wonder, see how his shoulder is brought down quite a bit. But if that doesn't make sense with what you've sketched, then don't add it in. I know it's hard trying to get the tones just with your pen, but it's really good for you. It's really good practice to be just working in like a mono shade. I'm going to leave this alone. I'm screwing it up. I do want to fix his back though, and this part of his, see these little itty bitty feathers coming off his head overlapping onto his back, and they're different colors. Uh-oh, jeepers creepers. Blotch, you little bugger. Oh, language. It's okay if it would just blotch in the right place. Looks like he has a little eyebrow there. I feel badly because I told someone the next sketch I was going to do was a little song sparrow. I'm not normally a liar. I'll do the song sparrow next. Get his little ruffled cheek feathers. Okay, do you like the curve of his throat? The bottom of his throat and then into his chest? And do the shading there, because you know this. I want to make him a little bit darker under here. Okay. My pen's got me nervous now. Oh dear, I'm working upside down again. Okay, let's see how straight this is. Mine's not. let's work on the bark. And I think that they were almost done. Do a good job on his feet, please. I said it before, you can tell a lazy artist when they hide the toes and the claws and the feet behind a leaf. That ain't us. They're so tricky, but you know what I've discovered, you guys? If you just do like these little, because they're all bumpy, right? All the tissue and the cartilage around the feet and the toes and stuff, and if you just do the little lines, I think it's hugely effective. Is this working? I can't shade the bark if I'm not leaving any marks. And we just want to have it darker under the bird, where we've got the curve of the tree trunk and the shadow of the bird. Now, another thing is, in your sketch, you must leave this the tree trunk thick, because if you put them on a little twig, you're going to have the bottom toe coming around. Okay? We can't be like perfect all the time. Okay, just how's your little guy for contrast and stuff like that? I've kind of missed all this like white feathers and stuff like that around his underneath. We haven't spent any time on the tail. The light's catching the underneath of it. I think he's pretty good. And the bill is kind of like a denim as well. I think I want to make this eye patch a little, this white. A little smaller. Okay. Let's call it a day. Little rose-breasted nuthatch. As always, I'm super grateful for your company. I'm very honored that you spend time with me. It means a lot to me. But now that I've done this free download, you don't even have to do that anymore. Okay, so thanks so much for your time, you guys. Have a fab day. I'll see you next time.